Chefs, what is the beef? I hope we are well. I bid you adieu. Actually, I don't. I'm welcoming you to another video. What we're talking about today, guys, is really answering a fairly interesting topic, which is why would you bother doing something like Chef Fit, right? Why would you bother doing our coaching program and joining the tribe that I talk about so much when you can do it yourself? That's what I'm going to be tackling today. Because I know for a fact that this is a thought process that so many people have, that I've had when I've sought help with something, or I've set out to do something and make a change, whether that be, personal development, whether that be change in my career, whether that be in my fitness and my lifestyle. You'll always know that you need to go at it yourself and you need to do the work. And sometimes you can think that, well, I don't actually need help with this. I don't need anyone else other than me because I know what I'm doing. And what I'm here to explain is that naturally you're going to think that that's the case, but the reality is it's totally incorrect. It's totally incorrect. And this is coming from someone, when I was competing in powerlifting, I've been an athlete my whole life, a qualified coach, all of these things. When I was going to compete in powerlifting and I was trying to get really, really good at it, I hired a coach. Why? Because I need someone to be objective with me. I need someone to not only take the thinking out of it for me and lay out the path, but I also need someone to call me out in my bullshit. You know what I mean? I need someone to call me out in my bullshit and help me course correct when I fall off track. For me personally, that's what I sought when I got a coach. So when I was competing to get good in fucking powerlifting, I wanted to win, I wanted to do it well, and I wanted to be successful at it. So therefore, I sought help with it. You know what I mean? And I sought the fucking guidance to push through. Now, you guys potentially, everyone's got industry experience and everyone's looking at these videos or looking at these posts and, potentially on the fence about joining and not really too sure, is it going to be for me or what's the story? So I want to lay out 5 massive reasons, okay? 5 big reasons why joining something like Chef Fit, it doesn't have to be Chef Fit, but joining something like Chef Fit is going to be far superior to going alone. The first reason is overcoming mental barriers. Okay? The first reason is overcoming mental barriers. Like, Chef Fit has a path laid out from start to finish. If someone applies from us from the day they leave, there is a step-by-step methodical plan to get you from A to B. A being where you are right now, B being your ultimate goal and the thing that you want to achieve. Okay? A lot of the testimonials and the success stories you see, all those chefs have gone through that same process, whether they're losing 30 or 40 kilos, overcoming depression and anxiety, turning their health around, gaining muscle, and really sorting their lifestyle out so they have more energy, more focus, more drive for things that matter, whether that be within their career or within their personal life. Everyone's destination is going to be different. The idea is within Chef Fit is you overcome the mental barriers that stop you from getting there. So what I mean by mental barriers, let's say when I chat to someone on the phone the first time, or Ella chats to someone on the phone the first time they look to join Chef Fit, and we always do a consultation on the front end. What that means is it's basically a conversation with us. We don't charge for it, where we're trying to deliver value to you, give you clarity on what your problems are, set specific goals, and show you what the plan would be if you were to join Chef Fit, just to give you a full idea of what it's about before you make a commitment to something. And the idea within that call is that I want to coach you. I'm not just here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to coach you and tell you some harsh truths if I feel it needs to be said. And I'll hear things like, oh, well, I couldn't lose that much weight. Sure, like fucking, I've never been able to do that before. Again, mental barrier. I don't have the time to do this and I haven't had the time to do it before. Again, that's a mental barrier. Like, I don't have the energy to even pick myself up once or twice a week, let alone every day. That's a mental barrier. The idea of talking to someone like me is that I can sift through what's true and what's not true and tell you the fucking harsh truth if it's needed, or just the truth, and give you clarity on what you need to do to overcome that thing. And as you develop within Chef Fit, you're constantly coached on how to increase the amount of fucking capacity you have in your head to do more work, improving your mindset, getting more clear, more focused, driving forward and not accepting excuses. And that process gets easier and easier and easier. When you see a success story that we put out, those people who completely change their bodies, change their minds, change everything about themselves, those are the people that ultimately overcome their barriers. Like, all those chefs, there's nothing special about them. All of them struggled the same way you did, but in the process of being with us, they overcame a lot of the blocks that they had up here. Time, energy, that doesn't work for me. My situation's different. All the things you'll say to yourself that stop you from getting the job done. So that's the first big difference. That's 1 out of 5. Okay. Second big difference is this. setting a specific goal and target. What we do in Chef, if for anyone that joins, you set goals based on 30 days, 90 days, 6 to 12 months. All right. And you have a specific long-term outcome that you're looking to set. Okay. You have a deadline on that. Then you have the checkpoint goals that get you to that point. And then there's a plan and a routine in order to get you to where you need to be. There's goals that are specific, whereas when you're doing it by yourself, you won't take the time to do this properly, so you won't have the direction and you won't have the focus on the specific outcome. So you'll say things like, I want to lose weight, I want to be healthier, I want to be a better me, you know, all things that are good intentioned. I get that, but they don't really mean anything. Because when you say, I want to feel better about myself, well, what happens when work gets busy and you've had a shit weekend and you don't want to talk to anyone because you're so tired? Do you still want to be a better you at that point? Do you still want to feel better about yourself? Chances are you don't. Whereas if you do set yourself an outcome, a specific outcome, the easiest one you could look at would be weight gain in terms of muscle or weight loss in terms of fat. That's an easy one. Maybe your one is different. Maybe you've got one where it's a mental health thing. You know, when people say, I want to have more energy as a goal. Okay, cool. Well, instead of saying you want to have more energy, which is great and it's good intentioned, why don't you ask yourself, what does the energy allow you in your life? And a lot of the times the energy is going to allow you to create more of a personal life for yourself, maybe develop a relationship, get into a relationship. Maybe it's so you're more present within your current relationship, or fixing, you know, a marriage, or being able to play with your kids. Think about what that outcome is for you. Like, why do you want more energy? And then that's what your goal is. Okay, cool. Well, I want to be there for my kids on my days off. David, how are you, bro? I want to be there for my kids on my days off. I want to be more present with my partner, or I want to have the confidence to go out and create more. Whatever that outcome is in your life, get specific on what it is. What we do in ShefIt is we set that long-term outcome. You have a deadline on it. This is when you're going to achieve that. Then there's goals that lead up to that. Boom, 30 days, 90 days, and then the outcome. And then there's a routine to back that up and get you to where you need to go. So it's not just I set a goal and just hope for the best. You set a goal and this is the shit that you need to do to achieve that goal. It's very, very clear cut. That's the second big difference between what we do with chefs and what you can do by yourself. The third big thing is going to be a chef specific structure. Okay, chef specific structure. I get a couple of questions on this the odd time. And people are like, what's a chef-specific nutrition plan or exercise plan or any of these things? Overall, the big thing about structuring your lifestyle for a chef is simplicity. And what we do is we get everyone to build out their own personalized structure for how they do things. So as I've explained before, we nail it in 3 ways. You start organizing yourself daily. So I get chefs to post their plans every single day, written down. What are you going to do? Get it posted before 9 a.m. Boom, get it done. Consistency, consistency, consistency. When it comes to training, it's like, sure, there's sessions based on every level. And if you're coming in with no experience in exercise versus someone who's coming in with loads of experience, there's always going to be something that you can do. You know, there's always going to be something catered to your level. You're not thrown in the deep, you're going to have to work hard, but you're not thrown in the deep end with something you're not capable of doing. And that's what I mean by the structure with exercise. The levels are there, but we simplify it down. You do something small every day when you start out, and you just build momentum off that. And it doesn't necessarily matter what those things are. We focus on the right things: compound movements, stretching, getting your cardio in, you know, but those things are unimportant, to be honest. The most important thing is how consistent you are. And we keep it simple and we keep it manageable for your level so you can remain consistent with that. And then the other part of it is your nutrition. Chefs saying, you know, oh, fucking, like, what's the best diet, or what's the best this and what's the best that. The best thing that you can do, and what I get every single chef to do, and we don't just tell them to do it, we keep you accountable to doing it, and we check in with you on a regular basis. And it's like, are you prepping something for the week so you have food ahead of time? Are you staying to a structure of 3 meals a day? Are you making the right choices with those meals by having your batch cook on point? And are you eating plenty of greens? Like, that's the main thing that we get people to do with nutrition. And how we make it effective is, it's nothing to do with diet. It's not what the best thing to do is, it's the consistency of it. So we simplify it right down so you're doing the basics, and then we hold you accountable so you're doing them consistently, and then you're doing them consistently till it becomes habit. And then all of a sudden you're exercising regularly by default, you're eating good food by default, and you're organizing your days by applying this mise en place principle by default. So that if you were doing that by yourself, you would potentially just be trying things without really knowing what the most effective thing to do is, or without really knowing what your priorities are. So that's the third big difference between what we do in ShefIt when we coach someone and what you would be doing by yourself if you tried it alone. The fourth thing is going to be ongoing coaching. And this is something that a lot of people will look at what we do and kind of go, I don't need that. What the fuck, like coaching? Oh, fuck off, which is a lot of chefs' attitudes. I understand that. I get that, you know, because it can sound a bit wanky. Coaching? What's that? Is that life coaching? Is that fucking... No. Coaching is someone, you know, in my opinion, and what I think coaching is, and I consider myself a coach at Chef Fit, is someone who leads from the front and leads by example, okay? For me, I don't tell the chefs to do it, I do it myself. Okay, so I do everything that we do in Chef Fit. I'm not just some cunt who fucking created something and sits at the top and, you know, kicks his feet back and says grand. Like, I'm posting my food pictures, I'm doing the training, I'm creating the programs, I'm following through on it. This week we're doing a 10k challenge, 3 10ks in a week. Cool. You better be fucking guaranteed that I'm going to be doing that with the chefs. So a coach is someone, first off, that leads from the front. The second thing is I live by my principles, and everyone in Chef Fit, I get them to live by the same principles. You own your shit. You take responsibility. Your life is in your hands. Your result is on you. You can't fucking wait for someone to save you, and you can't expect someone to save you. So that's the principle I live. That's the principle I get the chefs to live. We live by discipline, and we're a team. So when that's our code, that's our culture, and that's how it's led, all coaching is to me is to help people fix problems that they're having ongoing. So there's going to be weeks where you're feeling like shit. There's going to be a month where you didn't get much results. There's going to be days where you want to give up. The idea of coaching is that you're able to come to me in those times, and I'm able to give you clarity and a plan of action going forward to pull out of those times. All right? That's the key thing. Ongoing coaching is where you can get someone to help you fix the problems that you're facing. And I see a lot of chefs make this mistake of, well, I don't need the help, when you do need the help, and you're not fixing the thing that's in front of you. So let's say, for example, earlier on, the mental barriers thing. Cameron, I don't have time for this. Okay, cool. Well, you can come to me and I can give you clarity on where you do have time and how you can make the time. Or you can just keep to yourself and not make time at all and not fix that problem. Do you know what I mean? That's what coaching can do for you. So that's the difference between us and what you could do by yourself. It's ongoing. It's ongoing. Every single week, it's like a school. We do our calls at this time. We do our check-ins at this time. Everything is structured and orderly, and it happens on a week-to-week basis. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Till you fall in line with that schedule and that structure, and then that level of discipline and organization and high standards becomes how you live your life. That's why a lot of what we do is so successful, because it's a daily thing that happens every single time, and the weeks are consistent. That's number 4. The last thing, and probably the most important of all, and the difference between doing something like Chef Fit and joining the tribe versus going it alone, and this is a fucking shameless plug, is it's literally the environment. The environment. What I mean by environment is, like, here's a phrase, and you'll hear this a lot. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So think about it. Like, if you ever spent time working in a kitchen or working in a place where it was you were surrounded by negativity, everyone came in and they were complaining about the boss and, you know, this is shit and that shit. Like, think about how, when you're in that for a long period of time, it's quite toxic and it rubs off on you. And all of a sudden that affects your headspace and you start finding yourself gossiping and talking shit. It's because you are the sum of the people you spend time with, and that is your environment. Like, show me your friends, show me your I'll show you your future. And Chef Fit, the idea is that the environment is all about positivity, supporting each other, motivating each other, holding the standards high and not accepting bullshit from people. Do you know what I mean? Like, in Chef Fit, you come in, this is the fucking standard, and you either rise to the standard or you fuck off, you know? Very few people fuck off, but there are a few. And the truth about that is we hold an environment where you give it everything you have, and you get the results. That's it. It's very, very simple. And when people disappear or they go quiet, they get called out. And not in a dickhead way, in a nice way, because people sometimes have reasons for that. The idea of the environment is that you're looking into a group, daily interaction on Workplace, which is our community app. You've got a training app then that takes care of everything to do with your training, all of that. What the fuck is that? Is that the PA? Is he going to turn that off? Fuck me, lads. Why are they allowed to put a speaker in there?
Right, okay.
Oh, Lord. Come on.
The fire test is now complete and system is back to normal. Thank you.
I'm in the middle of a live video, yeah? Fuck me, lads. Brutal. Anyway, back to the environment. So imagine like this, through the fact that it's online, you have chefs from all over the world, different opinions, different backgrounds, this and that. Everybody comes together and we communicate on a daily basis, whether that's a coaching call on Zoom, whether that's posting our fucking stuff in the WhatsApp group, whether that's posting our pictures and our videos of what we're doing in the workplace app, you know, whether that's recording what our new record is in our runs or our gym stuff or our home workouts. Like, it's a daily communication where people are sharing what they're winning at and what they're struggling with. And every single day we motivate each other, we drive each other forward, and we hold each other accountable. There's weekly challenges where we post in the group. It's like, this is what we're doing this week. This week is a 10K challenge. For anyone that's new to the group, it's a 5K challenge. You know, when you need to get 15 kilometers done in a whole week if you're a beginner. And if you're advanced, you need to get a 30 kilometer total in running or walking. And like every week there's a new challenge, whether it be nutrition, whether it be we're forming teams and we're going at it together. Who can lose the most weight? Who can fucking, you know, build the most muscle, get the biggest PR on their run? Who can stay the most consistent with their nutrition? You're constantly being kept on your toes and pushed to raise your standards further and further and further. And eventually you spend so much time looking at other chefs winning, and there's a lot of success stories, and you see what they're doing, that starts to become you. You start to become positive. You start to become a motivator. You start to become someone that others look up to. You know, and that's what happens. The people who are here from day one, I've seen them grow from being in a shit place, totally lost in their lives, to being fucking like really, really fit, healthy, focused, driven chefs who are still pushing themselves every single day. And those people that came into me at day one, fucked, are now absolute champs. And anyone new that comes into the group, now they get mentored by the older chefs. The idea is that the environment is constantly there to pick you up, drive you forward, and never let you fall off track. And the last thing I'll say on that is there's two ways you can imagine it. Imagine having to climb Everest by yourself versus climbing Everest with like 50 Sherpas who know what you're going through. Like, just think about what the difference is, because that's what going alone is like. That's what going with the tribe is like. And that's the main difference between why you would do something like joining Chef Fit versus going by yourself. And yes, this video, those 5 reasons, absolute shameless plug. Absolutely. I don't fucking plug Chef Fit enough, to be honest. People probably don't know enough about it. But I know and I believe in it, and I'm fucking uber passionate about it. And that is mainly, you know, the reasons for the results. So all I'd ask is that if people are watching the videos and they're kind of sitting on the fence and they're unsure, I get it and I understand. I get it and I understand. What I suggest that you do is that you try out for at least put yourself forward for a consultation. At very least, you've got absolutely zero to lose from that and everything to gain from it. Like, jump on a call with us. Let us fucking go through your goals. Let us go through your problems and give you some clarity. Let us explain how we would make this thing work for you. And at that point, you can make a decision. It's like, okay, cool. Well, it actually sounds really good, and I know I need to make this change. Cool, let's do it. And we'll talk you through the commitment, time-wise, money-wise, energy-wise, all of that at that point. If you don't want to do it and you know it's not for you, like, you just let us know. It's no problem. You walk away with the clarity, you still walk away with the plan, but you don't have to make the fucking commitment. But regardless of what the decision is, you know, I hope you would be joining in. You know what I mean? I hope you do become a good fit and you are accepted. But the reality is, you've nothing to lose by putting yourself forward for that. So yeah, chefs, that's the main difference. Much love to all of you. I'll catch you all soon.